Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. It's time to talk about Star Wars Andor, baby. Episode 1, 2, and 3 came out today for us mere mortals, and myself and cousin Cheeto are going to be talking about it. How you doing, Cheeto?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Very good. Very much looking for. Sorry for the ding dings. Very much looking forward to this series prior to it coming out, simply because I've been dying for some Star Wars content. I did mention that I haven't seen anything Star Wars wise since Book of Boba Fett, but then you actually reminded me that there was a show called Obi-Wan, and
And
there's
it
a reason
came
why.
and went.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I forgot about Obi-Wan because it was unfortunately so forgettable. It should have been the crown jewel of some of the series that we've had regarding Star Wars, but we might be looking at the crown jewel now, even though at this particular moment in time, I would say that Mandalorian has that jewel when it comes to all the television shows. Nevertheless, we got three bumper episodes of Andor, and I believe we needed those three episodes to really appreciate what we got. Because if I only watched one episode, I would probably think, "What the fuck's going on?" Even after two episodes, I would have probably thought, "What the fuck's going on?" But watching those three episodes and the Stellan Skarsgård's character getting involved as well, it really made it feel like
Oh, Zam, you're frozen. Okay. Well, I can't tell
am I
if it's
back?
you're back.
Okay, sorry. I was saying, it did feel like we're watching a movie prior to the series of Andor. Like there's a feature length film, and now we're going to be getting into the series, and I very much appreciated that as well. This was an excellent start. Oh, thank you very much, Jim, for sharing. This is an excellent start, a much different approach, and an extremely British show, I may add as well, because hopefully for you, Cheeto, and your fellow Americans, you'll now come to realise there's more to British accents than "all right, mate, Cockney, Cockney," and "how do you do, sir?" Posh and noble, so to speak. Because yes, you could tell the show was filmed in the United Kingdom with the amount of British actors involved. I think a lot of some of the scenery was done in Scotland as well. So yeah, before we start talking about some of the elements of this episode, what did you think?
I thought it was really good. I agree with you. Is that I almost kind of wish that these episodes were more like a feature length type scenario. Like kind of like Sherlock did. They'd bring out a new episode every now and then, but it would be like an hour and a half long.
Like a
Um,
movie, yeah.
yeah, like a movie. So I actually really do, but I did enjoy this as a whole. So I really feel like they should have done that. I really feel like these first three episodes should have been episode one, and it should have came out, and we should have had maybe a little bit of time to sit on it. Just like a feature length episode. Maybe give us like one a month or something like that. Also giving us stuff in between, maybe like doing like the Bad Batch season 2 or something kind of going on in between, and then every 4 weeks we would get a new episode of Andor. But just it felt almost feature length type scenario, because the way they cut some of these episodes, it almost seemed like there shouldn't have been cuts there and credits, so I but I truly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted the nittier, grittier side. Not necessarily, we aren't getting necessarily the rebellion just yet. Skarsgård's character obviously is in the league with some kind of inception of the rebellion at this point. But right now, like we didn't get much of that. We got kind of like Andor's backstory and where Andor comes from. We got a little bit of involvement with the Empire, but not your typical TIE fighter, stormtrooper type, Star Destroyer esque Empire. It was more like the beat cops, like
Yeah,
even
security guards.
lower, yeah, even lower on the totem pole than stormtroopers. So obviously they miss harder, So
Okay, this person called Booyah Evening Horse, too ill to
thank you,
join, and
sir.
yeah, like I said, this show has a very British tone, and thank fuck because it was so much better. So far, so excellent. This is what Star Wars should be like. Yeah, I obviously the British tone was very noticeable. It was almost a little, I don't want to say necessarily distracting, but considering British actors can do American accents better than Americans can, it would have been nice to hear maybe one or two of these British actors just mix it up a little bit, because apart from Diego Luna, the entire Star Wars universe, when it comes to human beings, seems to be a mixture of either American or British accents. And Diego Luna seems to be the only human being with neither of those accents. So
I mean,
yeah,
I don't like the fact they call them humans, because technically they're not humans. But I mean, I know it's a small gripe, but it's like, when did they start calling them humans?
you can be a human. You just don't have to be from Earth. You know what I mean? It's a species.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still too many humans. Yeah, but we did get. I mean, yeah, I agree. We did get. There was a lot of humans, and that unfortunately was in the trailers. But there were elements of aliens here, there, and everywhere. Still the humanoid style of aliens, obviously with 2 arms, 2 legs. But yeah, we still got them, and it was nice to see little scatterings here and there. But you're right, humans galore. So in this first episode, we get a Andor, just a guy who's like looking for his sister. By the looks of things, he goes into a whorehouse, talking to a couple of girls. Obviously, gets into confrontation with some security guards, kills one of them in a fight, and then has to kill the other one off. And then obviously, it gives you a reminder of the beginning of Rogue One when he killed off that informant.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy who takes no prisoners, literally. And he has to, tie up all the loose ends, so to speak. I very much like that. And when he killed him, he shot him right in the fucking face as well. That was absolutely beautiful. And then we get into the world building. Did you like his droid? The
He was all right. That stupid droid. I mean, he was there to be sold. Like I'm sure there's a Funko Pop doll already out of that droid. Like right now, like they dropped it day and date. They dropped it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it served its purpose, but I mean, it was. They always find these new. Why couldn't we have like a R unit, an R not an R2 unit, but a red unit? Like the other one from A New Hope, not the R2.
Was it R5 or something?
I think it was R4. Yeah, I think it was R4, but it was
R4
red units.
R4 got killed in Revenge of the Sith when they were going to fight Count Dooku. He got ripped up by those buzz droids. They opened him up like a can of beans. But still, like this particular droid kind of reminded me of the robots from the Black Hole. Have you seen that? The Disney film back in the day?
No, God. I have heard of it. I've never watched it.
But the funny thing is, the Black Hole was Disney's take on Star Wars before they even considered owning it. So, it's a bit like when you see Star Trek copying Orville, even though Orville's the one copying Star Trek. So, yeah, it was some of that. Where's my wrench? I don't know, mate. This show had 3 massive former soap stars in it. Laugh out loud, Bez, who got a shot at the beginning. Trevor, Scottish, yeah. I remember, Trevor, Scottish corporate officer, and Paul, black guy in the flashbacks. Yeah. I've seen him, yeah. There was so many like, oh yeah, I know this guy. It was really good to see them all in the Star Wars universe. Oh, yeah, you've seen the Black Hole. Everyone's seen the Black Hole, dude. But as Ginger said earlier, it was good to see so many of these actors getting their chance, in something like Star Wars to get themselves more recognition as well.
Especially since it's something that's kind of off the beaten path. It's not like a big Jedi yada yada whatever. Like even though this show is good, it's still, in my opinion, it's a smaller scale so far, which I'm okay with. I want smaller scale. Like, I don't want it to be like universe bending Jedi bullshit. So,
get out. You're making too much noise. Get out.
I'm liking it a lot, but the fact that it feels very low scale right now.
Like Andor feels more like what Han Solo should have been than what Han Solo is, to a degree. Like, this guy is a scavenger. He hustles on the streets. He comes across as a bit of an arsehole who's always asking for money from people and stuff like that and borrowing stuff. I mean, there's no hint of him being a part of the rebels or anything like that at this particular stage of his life. Obviously, until Stellan Skarsgård character comes gets involved, but all he's doing is just jumping from place to place. But because he's killed a couple of imperial officers, so to speak, or people are even remotely associated with the Empire, now his ass is on the run. And that's what's got me very interested. Like you see him as well, like we get to see the lovely Adira Ajona playing a character called Bix, who's this mechanic, this lady mechanic, and he's obviously trying to hustle with her, trying to sell her stuff. He's making up stories with his other friends as well, saying, this is the story I want you to lay out, that I was here, there, and so on. So if anybody asks, we got drunk together and yada yada yada. Like he's foregoing his responsibilities. He's trying to find obviously his sister, and he's hustling on the side as well. He really is more of a Han Solo than Han Solo is, which is pretty interesting as well. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So in this episode, he's got this particular part. Do you know how he got that part? This
I did not notice. I mean, I was kind of watching it on my way to work, but I didn't. If it did, it did not explain very explicitly how he got it. Truth be told, I'd have to go back and watch it again to kind of catch it. But I mean, I really don't think they explained how he got it. I really feel like they didn't.
Now we also get to meet the villains of the show. As I mentioned, these sort of super security guards or beat cops, and the guy called Cyril is the one played by Kyle Sola. He's like the main antagonist of the show, and after speaking to his superior, who just basically wants to write a sub story as a report regarding the two officers being killed, but he doesn't want to investigate it. But he does actually understand what's happened. He genuinely does, but he can't be fucked to investigate it. But Cyril, maybe feeling that he's being tested, or he just decides to go over his superior's head, says, "Fuck it, I'm going to fucking go after these guys. They killed our boys. We are being very complacent. We shouldn't be complacent. We're here for the Empire. We need to get the job done." So just to go on to episode 2, we kind of meet some more of the additional characters as well. We obviously met Bix's boyfriend in the first episode, but he's obviously getting a bit jealous. He's got a fine fucking ass girlfriend, and she's hanging around with Diego Luna. So he's getting a bit jealous, and eventually, once he finds out that people are after Diego, he's a Varaxan or some shit like that, a feral.
Starts with a C. So God, Sicilian. I don't.
Yeah, but they're looking for one of him. But he's obviously got a backstory saying that he's from another part of the world. But still, because he's so bloody jealous, and it's funny in a way because after he catches his girlfriend talking to Diego in some seedy bar, she comes back.
Born Casa, Kassa.
Okay.
So
anyway, but she comes back after seeing Diego because she's doing business with him, not pleasure. And then she's ready to fuck him, and he's thinking, what? He's thinking, shit, maybe I made a mistake here. But he's already committed to it. So, yeah. So Diego now is obviously being chased by the cops. We meet the rest of the cops, a few more British actors as well. As Ginger said.
Sorry, Canary. He's Canary.
Ginger said earlier.
Oh, did he? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. He mentioned earlier that one of the actors, like the more chubbier one, the one who looks like Otis from the WWE, he's a very much like a proper like right hand man you want to have by your side. He's tough as nails, like that sergeant major type. You know what I mean? He wants efficiency, and he wants to get things done. And I like the way when he spoke to Cyril, saying, "Yeah, this is how I want to do things." But the thing is, Cyril, you start to realize during the course of this show that he's a bit in over his head. He's got very little combat experience. He talks a good game, but he doesn't necessarily play a good game. Whilst his understudy is far more battle hardened, take shit from nobody, could probably know how to throw his arms about a little bit, and is better at public speaking as well than Cyril is, because we see Cyril giving a chat to those other officers, and he doesn't know what to fucking say to them. He's so bad at speaking to them. Oh, I'm sorry about that. He's so bad at he's so bad at he didn't understand that. He's so bad at speaking to them, and I'm not sure if we will see Cyril's Scottish twanged officer try to overtake him in the ranks.
I
You
don't.
think?
I don't think so. I think that I think he is of the same mindset as, and a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? He's more like he was saying, the only way to keep a blade sharp is to use it, like type mentality where.
Which is not true, by the way. That's not how you keep a blade sharp. You
Yeah,
blunt
no,
it by
it's not at
using
all. You sharpen it.
yeah. But yeah. It's just that I felt there was like he like I feel like he, even though like his is a superior, is on the same mindset of him as getting the job done. I think he looks at it as a superior as an inferior, and the Sith are all about taking, even though they're not Sith, but
No,
they work for
don't put
Sith.
no. Jedis are banned from this. No Jedis, no Sith, no Jedis.
No, but they work for people who are cutthroat.
Yeah.
At the very top, of the food chain, they're cutthroat. It's a cutthroat empire. So like stepping on each other and trying to, get a higher rank is probably what they do. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tries that at some particular point. And we do see them obviously, like some of the special effects as well, like when the ship comes out of light speed, and you see the little mini ships pull off it and comes down to the atmosphere, and
They look
all of
they
that.
look like more advanced drop ships from the Clone Wars. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think they were specifically drop ships, but they look like a more condensed and modern, or more modern version, or more updated version of the drop ships.
I was getting some Clancy, so not Clancy. I'm going to get to him in a second, but I was getting some like Starship Trooper vibes and some Alien vibes as well. And I forgot to mention earlier, we got some flashbacks as well. Like, I'm not sure how you feel about flashbacks.
I feel like they dragged it out, but as long as they stop it, I mean, going to the third not going to the third episode, but with it ending in the third episode, like, I really don't like next week. I don't want it to be young Cassian Andor learning the ropes. Like, I don't want that. Like, okay, we got his origin, we got how he got off his planet, away from his tribe. How, they basically Star-Lorded him. They basically just came and picked up this kid, and they just walked off with him. Like, okay, like they couldn't have like dropped him off at his tribe or something, or outside of his tribe. Like, no, they just had to take him, apparently. I'm like, oh, this Peter Quill all over again.
That tribe was like a mix between Lord of the Flies and the Lost Boys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I think there's no fucking adults here, and they killed a kid as well. Like in the second episode, when we see the flashbacks and we see that massive canyon, which was done on a matte painting, by the way, proper old school matte paintings to show that canyon. Which they've done all the digging and stuff like that. But they could have proper jazzed up with special effects. You went from Commodore to Ensign. Mate, you should be watching this Star Wars stuff with us. You need to get on board, dude. Yeah, he says he's not into Star Wars too much, Jim, but
well, I don't blame you, Jim. I'm not into Star Wars, well, as much as Star Trek, but at the same time, Star Wars does have some good stuff. But as everybody knows, I'm tired of Jedis and bullshit like that. This is what I want. I want nitty gritty about the Empire and the Rebellion. Yes.
There's definitely no fan service in this show as well. The funny thing is, Rogue One had a lot more fan service, than these 3 episodes. But still, we see that that alien ship crashing onto the planet. The people working in there, they're all like wearing masks and stuff, but some of them have breathed the air within that ship, and they're turning yellow. By the looks of the panels within that ship, it looked like it was an Empire ship. Like the black panels and stuff like that. It didn't look like it was a Rebel or a regular standard
the Rebel
ship.
Alliance wasn't around back then. I mean,
yeah,
The Rebel Alliance proper wasn't around back then. So
exactly. So so I'm not sure if there's a further mystery to be resolved in the flashbacks regarding the yellow poison and stuff like that. I do believe they're doing flashbacks simply because they need to have alternative plots. Like you can have maybe two plot lines in the present day with at what's going on with Vandor and obviously with the antagonist, but that's still not enough. Sometimes you need another story, and that's why I think we're going with the flashbacks as well. In my opinion, I think it's a bit cheap, but it's a prequel to a prequel.
They should have gave us Moth Mothma early on then. Like that's my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel I know that we're going to be probably getting into Moth Mothma starting next week.
Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma. I know I always say it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mon Mothma probably next week, but I really feel like if they needed a third plot device, we needed to start with Mon Mothma then. We needed to have some of her
in the Senate and all of that mingling in the Senate.
Yeah.
Because I thought Mon Mothma is the person bankrolling the rebels.
Either that or make the first episode the origin, make it quick, sweet, to the point, like just the basics, the crash ship, and then they kidnap it or they take him or whatever, and then the second episode they could have gone into the Mon Mothma. I always say it wrong. God. Anyway, but so yeah, I really don't. They dragged it out a lot. Did it bug me? Yes. Did it break the episodes? No. Like they were still really good episodes in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So I think by the third episode, this is where we get. Let me pull up the name of the character, Stellan Skarsgård. By the way, Stellan Skarsgård, he's in everything now, man. I
like him. I think I honestly feel like the Thor stuff was kind of his worst stuff, in my opinion.
Really? You know what I mean? Like, I liked him in that because I've seen him in a lot of films. He was in Ronin, where he played one of the main villains in the film Ronin with Robert De Niro. And then when I see him when I saw him in 4, I thought, wow, I haven't seen this actor in ages, and I'm seeing him in 4. I thought it's really nice to see him play like a childlike scientist who's seen a god, which is what he has, Mm-hmm. But he's been in other stuff since. He's playing the main villain in Dune, and he's in this. He plays Luthen Rail, and I like the way he sees. Everyone's going on about it. Cassian Andor, as soon as he sees him, and he's obviously got his own agenda and stuff. He wants to buy that part because Bix mentioned in the previous episode that the buyer is coming, so they're going to sell her that part. And she also, I also forgot as well in the previous episode, she goes into this tower and climbs up this ladder and starts doing some Morse code shit. Do you know what was that about?
She was probably contacting him. She probably can't contact him through normal. She probably can't contact him through normal channels because obviously of his ties to the rebellion. I honestly feel like I think his character is somebody also pretty
high up,
and not like in the Empire, but like in the Senate or in some certain circles, because I feel like I saw in the previews or something like that, like he was kind of dressed to the nines, but he was surrounded by like Imperial people. So like either it was an infiltration thing where he like was infiltrating like an Imperial benefit or some shit, or I think he's like some kind of like governor or Senate member or something like that, because the Senate's still around. The Senate doesn't get dissolved until just before the Battle of Yavin. So
he it does, I do recall because at the beginning of New Hope they get it is the end of the Senate. I remember when they're marching through the corridors. That is a good point regarding Mon Mothma. I think she could be associated with Stellan Skarsgård's character of Luthen Rail. Maybe they're partners or something could put on those particular lines, because like this guy's got money. He's got money.
He didn't give a shit that he was possibly going to get caught there. Like I knew he wanted to get out of there, but he was not scared whatsoever of getting like caught. So
yeah. And even prior to all of that, when he arrives on that particular planet, he's on like some sort of sky bus, and he's like talking to another British actor, and I recognize that guy as well. There's there's a as a British person, there's so many recognizable
all
actors,
British
but
people look the same.
it was really difficult to pinpoint them all, for what they're in. But yeah, there was a lot of recognizable British talent on screen. It's really good to see them in fucking Star Wars of all things. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, but I like the fact that they're just just talking. They're talking about, oh, this place used to be a really different place before the Empire, and now you have to pay for everything and stuff like that. They're just general chit chat in a way. But Skarsgård
I
is,
heard
yeah.
I heard that they lifted the exact dialogue um, from people who used to ride on the bus to Disney World. So they pulled all of this dialogue from those people.
I wouldn't be surprised. But
Oh, this place used to be good, but you used to be able to go in and now you got to pay to spend money.
well, eventually, and I like the way it transitioned as well, because you see the bus in the sky and you zoom down and you see um Andor running around and stuff like that. I love the way Andor's sleeping rough in empty derelict ships and stuff like that. It's just he's a proper vagabond. He's a proper hobo as well, And yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing it, and as well when he finally meets Skarsgård and they're in this sort of like old rusted warehouse with hanging machinery. And by this particular time, the Empire, I mean, they are the Empire, aren't they? Regardless of them being a
I
smaller
know we didn't
faction.
see a single stormtrooper, a single Imperial officer that I remember. We just saw those militia beat cop blue. They call them blues, I think, because they wear blue.
Yeah, it's just there's something about their outfits which is quite Imperial officer like.
Mhm. But no,
The
that's what I mean,
hats
though. I
and
mean,
stuff like that.
but they are definitely Empire. I mean, but I think they're like the low people on the totem pole. They're not military. They're
Yeah.
more like militia, I think, or like local enforcement, maybe. I don't know. There's probably something in the extended canon about them, but I don't even know.
Look,
Um,
I'm jumping all over the place here because going back to the antagonist, like the guy of Cyril, he's gone over the head of his superior officer. Now, this could be a test by his superior officer, so that by by doing this, or he could just simply be going over his head and going against the wishes of his superior officer. We'll find out eventually.
Well,
But
the superior. I was going to mention this earlier when you started talking about it. The superior officer. Basically, what he's saying is, if our reports look good, that keeps my bosses off my back and me off of your back. So he said, and everybody's
mm,
happy. So that's basically in that first episode what he was telling him is like basically, look, these guys are first off they were supposed to be on duty and they weren't. They were doing the they were at
they
the
were drinking
brothel,
illegal
which were not.
alcohol.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were at the brothel that's not supposed to exist. So he's basically like, look, if all this starts showing up on a report, he's like, this is going to be, we really should just let this lie, So that's kind of what the impression I got from that first
And
episode.
he was leaving as well. He told the guy, "Don't put your feet up on my desk." So his superior officer was going away, which left Cyril in charge. But we see him trying to track down Andor, like he's like looking at star maps and stuff like that. You know, yeah, and I like the way in this universe they're really not trying to update the technology. The technology seemed more updated in the bloody prequels. The moment they caught up to the original trilogy timeline, boom, we got to make everything look like the fucking 70s now. So yeah, I did very much appreciate that. But yeah, they're
I
trying to
I
find
kind
out.
of I kind of attest that more to it being more of a backwater planet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I agree with you, but I feel like the reason why a lot of the stuff on that planet was very old school was, and I mean even the militia stuff on the militia, when they were kind of looking through the what was it, like the surveillance footage maybe, or the jump had the hyperspace records. I don't know what they were looking for, but like it just feels like, yeah, it's kind of a backwater part of the galaxy, and so they
Mhm.
don't have the most updated parts of technology. So when we get to Mon Mothma's stuff, we'll see what the technology looks like. It'll probably be more updated.
Yeah, I agree, and hopefully we'll see the Imperial Senate as well, because I think we saw some of that Imperial Senate in some of the trailers, with the
Hmm.
pods and stuff all floating
Yep.
out. So yeah. and we'll see some of the updated prequel era technology, which looks more modern than the original trilogy era technology. So yeah, they're on the case. They got a picture of of Andor, fresh
Although it's a much
faced.
younger Andor. He doesn't have the beard or anything like that in
Yeah,
the picture.
doesn't have the beard. Yeah, definitely a much younger Andor. But this is the only picture they got, and
Looks like the face, the de-aging they used with Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian season 2.
yeah. But it's maybe so. It looked more it looked more like a drawing or a painting than it did look like an
An actual person,
picture.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think they didn't put too much effort into it because, like, well, it's on a hologram, so nobody will notice. They'll just notice he looks younger. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure that looks like it's just bad de-aging.
I agree. So they've got like 12 people with them, so they've got a proper crew, all going to be going after Diego Luna. I mean, sorry, Cassian Andor, and they finally arrive on this planet, and lots of things are intertwining now because the bad guys are there. Luther Rail, Stellan Skarsgård's character is there, so they're all culminating in this one place. We also get to meet the sort of like foster mom of Cassian Andor. Her name is Marva. Now we see her in episode 3, I believe, yeah, in flashbacks initially.
And I think we saw her in episode 1 or 2 as well. Like, but we didn't know who she was. We just probably assumed it was Cassian's mom or something.
Yeah,
Like,
he's living with her because she went into this room. I thought to myself, "This is your fucking house. Surely you know what this room, what all the rooms are going on in all the rooms." But she looked really surprised when she saw Cassian's room,
I would
and
say
this
they're
is where
probably
like
more roommates.
this is where I kind of got a bit upset with the editing because we see Cassian sleeping on empty spaceships, yet he's living with this lady as well. Like it really, they didn't really like portray that well. You know what I mean? Making me understand that because when she, like I said, when she walked into that room, I thought to myself, surely this is your fucking house. You know what's going on in your house, and you would have seen everything in the room. I mean, the bloody droid lives there for Christ's sake. You just see him in his little power station and stuff like that.
I wonder if maybe he did that because he wants her to think he's working. I don't know. I get what you're saying. It's definitely a plot hole there.
So eventually these Empire cops, they come along and they go straight to her house, and yeah, they start talking to her, and I think to myself, yeah, she's dead, but she's not dead yet. I do think she will be dead. The only person for sure we know who'll be living through this, who's part of the main cast, apart from Cassian Andor, is Mon Mothma.
Yeah,
Everyone else
is
could
like
die
everyone else might go.
because we see Bix's character being chained up, and then her dickhead boyfriend comes running in on the scene, going, "Oh my god," with his crappy Irish accent, and going, "Oh my god, my girlfriend, you know, you bastards!" And then yeah, boom, he gets shot straight in the chest, and he's dead. So, ooh, love interest for Diego. You know what I mean? It's opened up for you. So yeah, that was convenient. But I think she's going to be dead as well. By the way, I think a lot of people are going to.
I think
His
she's too
mum's
hot to live.
too hot to live. You know, he needs that tragedy as well. I think the droid's going to die. You know, because I love that droid. By the way, I really do. I love that fucking droid. I think that droid's going to die. I think his mum's going to die. Stellan Skarsgård's character's going to die.
Just like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to die in this series, in my opinion. But when it comes to the Empire characters, I'm not sure who of them are going to survive
I mean,
as
this
well.
series, it feels like more good guys are going to die than bad guys. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is like going to be a series where it's like they show the sacrifices the rebellion makes to fight the empire. And I mean, they're gonna, the empire is gonna make the rebellion earn every single, step on imperial tyranny. So
Now, the one real significant action scene we got was near the end of episode 3. Once the super cops they catch up with Luthen and Cassian in that warehouse full of like iron, rusted iron machinery. And then from there it kicks off. Like Luthen seems to be one step ahead of everyone. Like he's already like leaving explosives on the door and stuff like that. And that box that Cassian left behind. What was that box?
I think it was some kind of transponder code or something. It's based. I think it's supposed to get them through Imperial checkpoints without any trouble because it's blank. So it basically will show them, like they can make it show wherever they were, like wherever they wanted them to go. Like so you can pass an Imperial checkpoint where they check where the ship has been. They could make it whatever because I remember them talking about it being blank and you can kind of get through any checkpoint you want or something like that. So I mean, for Rebellion that's trying to keep it on the DL, that's actually a pretty good thing. But Skarsgård didn't even seem like he was worried about it. Like that's why he was there for Cassian. He was not there for the box. So the box was a bonus. But it sounded like he was more there for Cassian than he was for the box.
In a way, though, with these super cops coming into this town and causing so much chaos, killing people, beating people up, chaining people up, interrupting people's lives, you could see like the seeds being sown for the rebels just amongst the people in this town. I mean, in a few shows we've watched, we saw it in Rogue One, we've seen it in Obi-Wan as well, and now this, you could see like the early stages of the rebels for sure.
Well, that's why I really like that part of Obi-Wan. Like, that Imperial officer, I can't remember her name, but that Imperial officer that was defecting, she was even like, she's like, look, I joined the Empire because I thought I was doing the right thing. And I found out, I did the wrong thing and now I'm trying to help. And it's like, I want to see more of that. I want to see more people that are turned from the tyranny because not all Imperials are bad. You know what I mean? Like, not all Imperial officers are bad. They get in it for good reasons because they believe the propaganda. They get in there and they're like, oh shit, this is not what I signed up for. So.
Well, it goes two ways, doesn't it? You either realize that you're part of a bad faction and you end up being like that lady who sacrificed her life, or you fall in love with the power and it corrupts you. So
well, we've seen that before. Yeah. I want to see the good turn, more in this show.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like that character was a waste on Obi-Wan. I felt like that character should have been on this show.
But it was good to see like with the action scenes as well and how Cassian and Luthen were like one step ahead of everyone, especially Luthen. He's a wise old fox, not his first barbecue. And that scene with all the engines falling off the ceilings and stuff like that was pretty cool. It was a good action scene.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get back onto the streets, I love the way that they caught up with the chief officer Cyril, and they had a gun at the back of his head.
And dude, guy was not ready for that. This guy was not ready for this scenario at all.
Well, this is the thing there, because what he's done, he's opened up a can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
He could have just listened to his superior officer and said, okay, fuck all, I'll listen to him. Fuck dealing with some rowdy nightclub brawl. I'm just going to write a report and pretend this shit never happened. But now he's decided to pursue it. And some of his officers...
can of worms.
More of his officers are dead. Because, Skarsgård booby trap places, booby trap cars. He set out that dummy car that, to blow up. I'm sure a few people died at the shootout earlier. I'm sure a couple of people died as well. So, so he's basically, they put a bigger target on their back, but now he's put more responsibility on on Officer Cyril to make sure that this gets resolved. So he's going to be chasing him. He's going to be like,
it's gonna be. He's gonna be the Reva of this series. Although Reva was a good Inquisitor, I'm not gonna, except for the last episode. I'm not gonna lie, but this guy just seems more like, he seems like a I don't know what the word. What kind of word do you put on him? He freezes in the line of fire and everything, and I don't know. He
Yeah,
just
he's not as confident as he thinks he is.
yeah, because as soon as things
Yeah,
go wrong, he freezes.
yeah. Jim will try and get onto it, mate. I promise. Um. So yeah, but we see something Star Warsy because at times, even though this is a Star Wars show, there's not many familiar things, which is a good thing in a way because once again we don't. It's not all about fan service, but they do get onto a speeder bike, which is probably one of the most familiar things I've seen in this show.
Hmm.
And but even the Empire ships and stuff like that, they're not familiar. The suits are not familiar. Like the work clothes these guys wear, they got a bit of a rebel tint to it, but they're not though. But the speeder bike was the only thing that I recognized so far in the Star Wars universe to be something that harkens from the past.
There were
And
one or two things, and I don't remember what they were. There were one or two things in Cassian's room that were Easter eggs that I saw, but I don't remember what they are now. I'd have to go back and look. But other than that, that's all I noticed. You're right, the speeder and some things in Cassian's room.
maybe the blaster and stuff like that, But the one
Yeah.
he had, which he killed the two security guards in the beginning of episode one, which looked a bit like something Han Solo would have.
Well, and
But
he took it from them, so they probably,
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, with Han Solo's blaster was it like an Empire blaster, which is why he had it, but he was in the Empire.
I don't think it was. I think it was just a blaster. Like the Empire's blasters were more like rifle, like short barrel rifles.
Okay,
They
okay,
did. I mean, and even the scout troopers from Return of the Jedi, their weapons were like the crickets from like Men in Black, like the really little
yeah,
short things.
little
So
pistols.
yeah, like the tiny pistols.
So going back to the flashbacks, we see like the maternal figure of Marva, and she has somebody with her as well, who I think this character we might see in future episodes, like her right hand man. He's a British actor as well. I've seen him in a few things. But she eventually, when she sees a young Cassian on the ship and he doesn't speak any English or basic, as they say in this universe, she subdues him and like drugs him, and then she
Star
takes
Lords
him
and
away. Star Lord's him, but this guy's got a fucking younger sister. She's like taking him away from all of that, like proper kidnaps him, and yeah, so we see his what happens to him regarding this lady. I'm surprised he still loves this lady, even though she's taking him away from his real family. But fair enough. I also like the fact that one of his friends as well. He got one of those drop ships. He put like a line on it.
yeah, like an anchor
Which,
to it.
yeah, and it was too heavy.
I
The
knew
weight
that.
on
Yeah,
it.
I knew that as soon as he was walking away from that ship, I'm like, oh, he's helping him out. Which there were like 3 drop ships, so it's like, I mean, but I thought it was funny. I'm like, yeah, he's helping him.
Also, just going back to episode 2, like the guy who hits the with the hammers and he's hitting that metal anvil, like he's proper into it. Yeah, bang, 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 bang. It's like he's like a clock tower, isn't he?
Hmm.
Waking people up like a cuckoo clock, bell, cockerel, all of that sort of shit, and he's proper into it as well. But I like it very much. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
But Cassian now then obviously running away with Luthen. I'm sure that this in the next episode he'll meet Mon Mothma. Would you agree?
Probably. I feel like Skarsgård's character is going to be the introduction into Mon Mothma. So, um, as I said, I'm excited to learn more about Mon Mothma. She's always been a good rebel character. She's had a little bit of stuff in the prequels, but some of it was deleted scenes, and I think they really need to get into that aspect of the rebellion. Like there are so many more facets to the Star Wars universe than just the Skywalker stuff. So
Yeah. This show I think it'd be more about espionage and undercover and stuff like that. But initially we need to get Cassian out of the shithole he's in and part of a bigger cause. I do feel that um he'll still have that tunnel vision to look for his sister. That's going to be like one of the more massive priorities. if he finds it. It'd be amazing if she ends up being a rebel officer. That would be a twist.
I think it'd be hilarious if she was an Imperial officer.
Sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I apologize.
Oh,
I meant sorry. That's what I meant. An Imperial officer. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be a massive.
I think it's
twist.
most likely that she's going to be a rebel, like a part of the rebellion. Like she disappeared, and then the rebellion saved her, or something like that. Or she's, But I think it would be a great twist if she turned out to be an Imperial officer.
Now, Cassian himself, he might find a purpose by being a rebel, but he can't have too much of an arc because we saw in Rogue One he killed that informant. So if he starts having an arc where all of a sudden he's not the sort of person to do that, then that'll be fucking stupid. What he does need to do at some particular point is to meet K2SO, played by Alan Tudyk, the black robot.
Go ahead.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, like, if anything, I feel like his arc should be he should get darker. You know what I mean? Like, be a little more callous about it. Like that should be his character arc. Is because the sacrifices he's willing to make for the Empire. Because the person he killed in Rogue One was not a bad person. He just couldn't, like, that person couldn't climb or couldn't whatever.
Yeah.
So he couldn't risk getting caught because of the information. Cassian couldn't risk getting caught because of the information he had. So he had to kill the informant to make sure that they didn't squeeze the information out of him. You know what I mean? So, like,
by the way, that actor who got killed in Rogue One, he's been in my cab.
Yeah, I do remember you saying that before.
I think his name is Danny Palmer. And I actually asked him, "Are you going to be in Cassian Andor? Because it is a prequel." And he told me no, he wasn't in it, which was gutting for him, man, because it would have been good if he was in it.
Yeah,
because it would have added more to his killing. Yeah, more substance to his killing, knowing that Andor knew this guy and boom, stabs him. Or
maybe he has an NDA. Maybe he can't say.
Oh, he told me. I mean, I think he would have told me. I think what it is sometimes they would tell me if they. But he seemed a bit bitter that he wasn't involved in the Star Wars thing. Like, as an actor, nowadays as an actor, you want to be part of a franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also, I mean, I think they're planning on more than just the first. What they filmed the first 2 seasons, so I think they're planning on film. You never know; he could be in subsequent seasons.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he told me when I had him in my car. He told me he was doing a play with David Thewlis, who played oh God, what's the name of the god of war in Greek mythology? Ares. Oh. Yeah, he played Ares in Wonder Woman.
He played Ares in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy. Okay, the actor who he's working with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also played Professor Lupin in Harry Potter.
Yes, yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, he was the one who turned into a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, anyway, I'm all over the place, but nevertheless, really good show. We see obviously Andor running off with Luthen Rail, so we'll see how that pans out in the future. See what directions they go. See if he finally gets his purpose and all of that. There's 12 episodes in this series, so there's a lot to come from this. And if they're all the sort of length we're getting now, 35 to 40 minutes, that'll be acceptable, I guess.
Well, I mean, normally with the Disney Plus shows, the longer the season runs, the shorter the episodes. Like She-Hulk. She-Hulk runs only, like, except for the first episode, has only ran 20-some minutes. So, but it's 9 episodes.
It's not, but it's got that sort of network television vibe about it.
Yeah.
So it feels like it would be like a half an hour show on the telly. So I can understand it being less than half an hour. But this particular show, because of the stakes of it, you don't want to rush it because there is a much slower pace in this show. Would you agree?
Yes.
It's not rushing itself. And I think with 12 episodes, there's no need to rush it. And it will have like particular moments and set pieces as well in certain episodes that will really make this show stand out. But this is finally what people wanted. People wanted a grounded, hardly any fan servicey, no cutesy wootsy, no stupid jokes, dark Star Wars show.
Yeah, I don't mind fan service as long as it's in service of the plot, like the speeder bike. Like I was okay with that because it was like they needed a speeder, and that just happened. Now, some could argue that that speeder bike is technically imperial, imperial grade. So it's like, why was it there? But at the same time, it's just kind of like, maybe it's an old imperial speeder. Technically those are imperial speeders. People in the backwater planet wouldn't have them unless they salvaged them. So, and maybe that's what happened. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I agree. Like, I don't mind fan service. I just don't
Oh,
want like Jar Jar Binks fan service every episode.
there's two types of fan service, and Rogue One had both good and bad. The bad fan service was at the beginning of Rogue One when they're walking through that market town and they see those two dudes, one of them who ends up getting his arm chopped off by Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope.
Right here.
Yeah. Remember those two dudes?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. I saw.
That's
Yeah.
bad. That's bad fan service. Like you're in a fucking galaxy, and you make the galaxy seem small when you do some shit like that. Also, they had R2D2 and C3PO as well. That was also stupid fan service. But good fan service is the scene with Darth Vader where he kills all those fucking rebels, chops them up like fucking, like a horror movie villain, with his lightsaber. I know you don't not not a big fan of all of that sort of stuff generally, but I thought that was done. That was just done brilliantly. It really was. It was the most menacing I've ever seen Vader be in all of Star Wars, and that was fantastic fan service. So
I
it can be done right and wrong.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, I wasn't upset about Vader. Just because it's not that I hate Jedi. I just hate the fact that like everything's about them. Like if it
Hmm.
makes sense, like in Obi-Wan with Vader showing up, like it made sense. And not that I wanted Vader to show up, but I mean they made it work and it was okay. Like the Vader stuff was probably the best stuff in that show. So,
Well, the Vader stuff in Rogue One was, it wasn't about the Sith or the Jedi, but
yeah, it
it
made
made
sense for him to be there.
yeah, it makes sense. But he had a small role in the middle of the movie when he was talking to Ben Mendelsohn's character,
Hmm.
and he goes, don't choke on your aspirations, which is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But you know, but then obviously at the end, that was pretty cool as well. And one of the things I always liked about Rogue One is that I predicted something which came correct. I said that I want everyone to be killed, and I want the film to end at the beginning of A New Hope, and that's what happened. So I very much like Rogue One for that. You got Kel Kestis vibes from the shipyard. Kel Kestis, he's the guy from Jedi Fallen Order, isn't he?
Hmm.
The Vice Cassian stole looked like the breather from Vader's armor.
That is also yeah. It looked a lot like it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, there's
Um,
all these like everything looks like a chunky Rubik's cube. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
everything
So
Imperial looks the same. It's got a blue button, a red button, and it's black. Like
yeah,
that's everything Imperial. Even their droids,
exactly.
they're like black and white. Like with I think with red on them. Like no
So
variation.
do you want to like rate these episodes individually, or you want to rate
Nah,
them
just
as a
let's
whole?
rank it. Like I really felt like this was a feature length thing. So honestly, I would prefer to rank it all together because that's how I absorbed it. Now I know next week it's gonna be a little worse because we're gonna get one episode, and if they keep to this like 3 episode arc format, but I maybe these first 3 episodes were supposed to feel like that, and that's why they released them like this, and then the rest of the subsequent episodes are gonna feel like episodes of
Yeah. Well, like I said,
so
with 12 episodes, they can afford to do a play like this, and
yeah. I mean that
definitely,
gives us 4 arcs. Like I mean,
yeah.
if it's 3 episodes an arc, and then you can have 4 arcs throughout the whole series. And that's still pretty good.
I would, I have enjoyed it, but I haven't, and I think there's more to come. But I'm not like 9, 10 territory. I'm like 7, 8 territory with it. It's good, but I'm not gonna kid myself or fool myself. I don't think it's been fantastic. Definitely a breath of fresh air. It's kind of what people have been clamoring for because it's like probably a lot of the Disney stuff generally, whether it be Star Wars or Marvel, just gets a bit too jokesy. Yeah, I'll go with what Daniel Vance has rated it. I'll give it a 7 as well. Daniel Vance says I'll give it a 7 for an open good start playing with questions, intrigue. looking forward to the inside workings of the Empire and Rebellion. I give it a 7 as well because it gets a 7 for me because if it was just one episode, it would probably get maybe a 6 or maybe a 7 as well. I think if it was one episode, but we're having 3 episodes and what we got, I thought the second episode was a little bit slow. Um, but overall, first episode, third episode were pretty good. Yeah, it gets a 7 out. It gets a 7. It's good, but it's not. It's not amazing. It's good.
I'll give it an 8. I really enjoyed it. I got to, we got to see the underbelly and everything like that, but they really need to start, progressing the rebellion in this for me. And I know they will moving forward because when Cassian left with Skarsgård's character, that basically was his induction into the rebellion at that point, I would say. So, but yeah, they really need to start progressing into the rebellion, the workings there, Mon Mothma, and yeah, I really enjoyed these episodes. Dark, gritty, low key, like low scale, and that's what I wanted from this. And honestly, I'm kind of glad we didn't get, like, originally I was kind of looking at these beat cop outfits, and I'm like, why wouldn't they use stormtroopers? And by the end of it, I was like, I'm really glad they didn't use stormtroopers. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about those stormtroopers that's just like, it was kind of nice not to have them as the
you want some character from your characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. Now, I just want to tell everyone that I myself will be doing marathons of reviews these next few weeks, because on Mondays it's House of Dragons. On Tuesdays, it will now be Quantum Leap. Today is Andor. Tomorrow is Star Trek Lower Decks. Fridays, She-Hulk. Saturdays, Lord of the Rings. And then Zam, after creating all of these things, decided to have his day of rest on Sunday. But
yeah, I don't know how you do that, man.
Well, it'll be nice if other people in our group, and I hope if they're watching, would fucking join me now and again instead of fucking Cheeto having to finish work immediately and get here and get involved in some of the stuff. And I don't blame him for not being involved in everything, because he doesn't like it as everything that is on offer. He's not a House of Dragon fan, so I don't expect him to be on board with that. Quantum Leap, I'm not sure if you're into that or not.
Now, the problem is I've got my kids Monday and Tuesday, so that's why it's like Monday and Tuesdays are hard for me. Quantum Leap, I'd be interested. I haven't watched it yet. I might be interested, but yeah, I mean, for the sake
of getting... It's a sequel, by the way. It's a sequel series. It's not a reboot. People thought it would be a reboot, and thank you very much, Daniel. I will do my best if I get through it all. But the fact that it's a sequel series, so it acknowledges that Samuel Beckett did what he did in the 90s, and this particular physician is continuing his work. So what it does leave is the potential of meeting Samuel Beckett in time travel, and seeing what he's up to, after almost 30 years of leaping from body to body.
Scott Bakula's still doing a good job, still kicking it on one of those, what is it, or NCIS shows or something? And
is it? Well, let me tell you this. Yeah, this is why I have an issue with Enterprise, because every time you see Scott Bakula on fucking Bakula, whatever. Yeah, whenever you see him at Star Trek conventions, they hardly ever talk about Enterprise. They always ask him about Quantum Leap. They always fucking go there. You know what I mean? So it kind of shows that Enterprise sucks. But regardless of that, I just did that to trigger you a bit. I do apologize. But regardless of that, we've pretty much got something every day. And I'll also be reviewing on my day off work Dharma, which is out today, but I'll probably watch it on Friday and get a review out for you then. So yeah, keep an eye on for NerdTube. You got anything more to add, cousin Cheeto?
Nope. We're coming to the end of the Studelberg line of fan films, so that's kind of on the horizon. Me and Mage are going to try to finish up the Dragon Ball tier list in the next week or so. I'm trying to lighten up on the bonus, like the extra content, just because you've got so many reviews coming out and I don't want to take away from those. Just because of the analytics being stupid, and like if something gets released and then it kind of messes with the analytics of your review. So yeah, all right, well, I mean, we'll probably get back into some of that stuff once the reviews kind of die down a bit. But no, it's mostly
It's
you, man.
smorgasbord time.
You're massively busy. I'm trying to help out as best I can, but
Well, Daniel Vance and Scott Bakula has stated that he has nothing to do with the new series. So he says some people are saying that could be Elijah so that he can surprise us with a cameo. At the same time, if we do get a season 2 out of this, eventually he's gonna show up. Whether he's got, like if you're gonna have this as a sequel series and not a reboot, it's a sequel boot. What's the a requel? Is that the word terminology? Where it's like a sequel and a reboot at the same time, a bit like the Incredible Hulk film, the second one.
Yeah, a reimagining maybe a reimagining is kind of what I get, because it is a sequel though, as you said.
Yeah.
I mean,
and by the way, hopefully, but I'm dying to give it. I just want to call Jake deluded now. I don't want to even call him Jake anymore, because if you saw the D23, Kevin Feige brought out the actors for Captain America, New World Order, and he goes after 14 years, so and so is back playing the leader. I mean, what more does he fucking need? I know he'll stick to his guns because he doesn't want to be. But some people just hate admitting they're wrong. I don't like people like that personally, because we're all wrong at some points in our life. He's definitely wrong about this, but so be it. I mean, he's getting more wrong with every day with something new coming out. You know what I mean? Agreed. I want to know why Sam never returned to his wife. Little fact most have forgotten. Well, let me tell you something, Daniel Vance, and this is something I wrote. Let me see. This is what I wrote regarding that. I wrote, Sam willingly chose never to return home. He spent his life helping people because he knew he was doing good and decided to never stop. He is a hero and cared for other people over his own needs. And yeah, that's what I wrote regarding that, because somebody asked why Sam never returned home and it bothered them, and that was my response. Yes, he obviously had a wife, and she would love to have seen him come home as well. But regardless, he made that sacrifice. He wanted to rescue people and save people and make people's lives better, and that meant sacrificing his own needs, even that of his wife, and never returning home and just jumping from place to place, making the world a better place. So that's why he never returned, in my opinion. He's a hero, and and the thing is, he knows how to kick ass as well. The guy was like a martial artist, wasn't he? Like he was like a super scientist, and he could fight. Whilst this particular character of Ben Sung, who is the new Quantum Leaper, he's not really a fighter. He's a smart guy. He can speak several languages and stuff like that, but he's not a fighter. So we'll see how that pans out as well. He sucker punched this one guy in the pilot episode. That's because he sucker punched him. You know what I mean? But yeah. So we'll see how all that pans out. There's so much. Oh my god, there's so much to fucking talk about. So yeah. You're into Quantum Leap? Yeah. Well, join me, Jim. It's on NBC in America, network television. You can join me. It's on Mondays, I think. So you can watch that, and you can join me on Tuesday, and we can talk about it. First episode came out already. Maybe you can try and catch that, and then you can watch the second episode, and you can join me on Tuesdays, and we can talk about it. Come rescue you. You need all the help you can get. Fair enough. All right. So tomorrow's Lower Decks. Commodore Boom will be joining us for that, and hopefully Mike as well will be doing the play-by-play of that particular show. So don't forget to join us for that. Until then, Cheeto, any more to add?
Nope. Good strong
Fantastic.
opening for Andor. That's what I wanted. So, you know, this show is kind of a make or break for me with Star Wars. Because I'm not in love with Star Wars like you guys are, but this is a good start.
Thank you very much, Daniel Vance. Hope to see you around. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, for Star Trek Lower Decks. Take care, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Live long and prosper.